Hi guys, welcome back. Two of the most attractive offerings right now is the Yamaha FZS version 3.0 and TVS's Apache RTR 164V. And in this video, we're going to do a detailed comparison between the two. So if you're confused between the two, this might help. And like all our comparison videos, these are the main factors that we're going to check. And let's start with the first factor, which is the design. This one varies based on personal preference, but still, when you check the FZS version 3.0, it looks bold and stunning with a very muscular design with nice curves and a touch of chrome garnish to give a premium feel. The headlight of the FC is very modern and it's a LED headlight, and the visibility of it in pitch dark is not the best, but still it's a good one and you can get through. Even the speedometer, it looks modern with negative LCD display which shows all the necessary stuff, and same is the case with the straight type handlebar which has all the needed switch controls, in which you even get an engine kill switch. The only design area I'm not excited about the FC is the tail light, but the pillion grab rail actually covers it with its sleek design. So overall, I really like the design of the FC version 3.0. And now checking the Apache RTR 164V, it has the Apache RTR series design, which is a very attractive design. Starting from the hyper-aggressive naked headlamp, which has snake fang styled LED DRLs, to the fully digital speedometer, which shows more information than the one on the FC, to the aggressive fuel tank with racing inspired tank cowl and graphics, and finally to the much better tail light with Apache's signature pillion grab rail, and all of this together makes the RTR 164V's design one of the most eye-catching. Now, a couple of things to note here is that the headlight of the RTR 164V is not LED, but still it's a good one, and I feel it has better range when compared to the FCS headlight. Then the handlebar used in the RTR 164V is also a straight type handlebar with similar switch controls. So overall for the design, the one you like surely varies based on the rider, but for me, even though I like both the bikes' design, I'm slightly going to lean towards the Apache RTR 164V. And now to the second factor, which is the specs. The specification of a bike is just for reference, and we'll start with the FCS version 3.0. The engine capacity of the FCS is 149cc, and it's an air-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder engine, and if you're curious about its max power and max torque, it's here on the screen. The FCS version 3.0 is not a heavy bike, weighing just 137 kg. The bike also has good ground clearance at 165 mm, and the seat height is 790 mm. For the brakes, the front and rear is disc with ABS equipped on the front, and the bike also gets sufficiently big tires, especially the rear one, which is 140 mm in thickness. The fuel tank capacity of the FCS is also on the higher side, which is a great thing at 12.8 liters. And finally for the suspension, the front is telescopic fork and the rear is swing arm monoshock suspension. Now checking the TVS Apache RTR 164V specs, the engine that powers the bike is a 159.7cc, and it's an oil-cooled 4-stroke single-cylinder engine. And here on checking the max power and max torque, it certainly shows that the RTR 164V is a more powerful one than the FCS. Now one thing with the RTR 164V is that the engine can either be a carburetor or a fuel injected, where on the FCS it's just fuel injected. For the weight, the Apache RTR 164V is a more heavy bike weighing 147 kg, and it has better ground clearance at 180 mm, and even the seat height is on the higher side at 800 mm. The brakes used varies based on the model you choose, and the one we tested has disc on the front and rear with ABS equipped just on the front. The tires used on the Apache are not as thick as the ones used on the FCS, and same is the case with the fuel tank capacity at a standard of 12 liters. And finally for the suspension, the front is telescopic fork and the rear is monoshock. So now that we have got an idea about the specs of both the bikes, let's move on to the most important factor while choosing a bike, which is the ride quality and comfort. We'll start with the Yamaha FCS version 3.0, and if you have watched my other FCS videos, you might know that I really like the ride quality and comfort of this bike. First for the power, don't expect a very punchy performance because the engine is tuned to deliver a more smooth and linear performance, but still you can hit 100 km mark without stressing the engine, and no matter what speed you're riding, you'll surely enjoy it because the engine is refined and I didn't feel any vibrations from any parts. Now the core thing about this engine is not power, but it's the refinement, and that along with the other things like the bike's ergonomics and design, which in turn leads to a very enjoyable ride control. It's an easy to control bike where you can flick around and get through traffic with ease. And even the ride comfort is well done. The seats are long and wide enough so that both the rider and the pillion won't feel any discomfort. And that's mainly because the cushioning of the seat is well done. Now, when we check the suspension, even though while riding through bad road conditions, I didn't feel any stress or strain, the suspension is a bit on the stiffer side. But overall, with an upright riding posture, with the handlebar positioned closer to the rider, the riding experience from the FCS version 3.0 is really good. You will notice a slightly less power compared to the RTR 164V, but still, this bike is ideal for your daily city use as well as for touring. And also, the single channel ABS braking is well done with dual disc, and hence I didn't notice any skid or rear wheel liftoff even while doing some quick brakes. So now let's concentrate on the Apache RTR 164V. Well, one thing without doubt, the RTR has the upper hand is the raw power. So if power is your priority, then you already know the one you have to get. The Apache RTR 164V stays agile and is always leaping to gain speed. Hitting the 100 plus mark is pretty easy compared to other 160cc bikes, and even at that speed, TVS did a good job by making the engine smooth and also the overall riding experience vibration free. And the bike is also very stable even in high speed. But what TVS missed out is the ride comfort side. The bike is comfortable, but when I rode for 40 to 50 km in a stretch, I started to feel slight discomfort, and that's especially with the seat. The seat is long and wide and is comfortable for both the rider and the pillion, but that's only when the ride is within 50 km in a stretch. And hence if the ride is a long one, it's better to take short breaks in every 50 km. So for the ride comfort, FCS has the advantage, and that's the same with the ride control. Now, even though the RTR 164V is an easy to control bike compared to the FCS, it also the FCS has the advantage. But for the suspension, I felt the ones in the RTR are slightly more soft compared to the FCS. And for the braking, I tested the dual disc brake variant with single channel ABS, and the brakes in that version performed really well, and both the bikes' braking are almost on par. This factor has been a tough one because there are certain areas where both the bikes have the upper hand. So let's check the fourth factor before reaching any conclusions, and that factor is the mileage. Like I've already mentioned, the FCS get a slightly bigger tank, so that's an advantage for the FCS over the RTR 164V. Because during our testing in city traffic, both the bikes got almost the same mileage at approx 45 km per liter range. Now this is in city traffic, and for you it might vary based on the way you ride and also based on your road conditions. And surely in highway, you can hit the 50 km per liter mark or even high for mileage. So that takes us to the last factor, which is the price. We'll first check the FCS version 3.0's ex-showroom pricing, and for the FCS, there is just one variant and its price is 99,185 Indian rupees ex-showroom, and for the Apache RTR 164V, there are different variants available, but the one we tested is the carb ABS variant with dual disc, and its price is 92,101 Indian rupees ex-showroom. Now that pricing might seem really less compared to the FCS, but the FCS is a fuel injected bike, and there is the same fuel injected option for the RTR 164V, and its pricing is 99,101 Indian rupees ex-showroom, which is almost identical to the pricing of the FCS version 3.0. So that's everything for the comparison, and it's time to choose one. Well, it's been a tough comparison, and it's mainly because both the bikes have their own pros and cons. Let me put it more simple for you. Now, if power is your priority, then surely you know your choice, and that's the RTR. But for me, my priority is more for daily use, and even though power is important, comfort is my utmost important factor, and therefore my pick from these two bikes is the Yamaha FZS version 3.0. For the design, even though I slightly lean towards the Apache RTR 164V, I also like the design of the FCS version 3.0. And pricing is almost same if you're comparing the F5 variants, and since FCS has better ride comfort and control compared to the RTR 164V, I would pick the FCS. That's all for this video. Hope you liked it. If so, please do hit the like button, and also let us know the bike you would pick in the comment section below. And before you go, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss any future contents from the channel. See you again in the next one. Till then, bye and ride safe.